Welcome back to Almost Live here at Streaming Media West 2015. I have with me today Eric Hards from Lockheed Martin. Eric, of course, I've had you on panels before, and when you were on a panel of mine, either last year or the year before, you were going through the process of looking for some new systems to work across your entire organization. I think at that point, you had media site in some departments, you had something else in other departments. Kind of where have you gone since then with the process?
Yeah, so in the panel we had roughly 5 business areas. Each of those business areas, 4 of them were using media site and 1 was using a Kumu product.
Okay.
We've now gone through an RFP process. We've down selected to Kumu.
Okay.
So that will become our standard across Lockheed Martin.
Okay. And one of the things you were talking about, I believe, in that panel was on-premise versus cloud, and kind of looking at the different models there. What did you end up with on that?
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember now, but I said if I could go cloud, I would.
Right. I do remember you said if I had a choice of doing everything all over again.
But we don't.
Okay.
Lockheed Martin is very particular about their security for obvious reasons.
Sure.
So we brought it all in-house.
Okay.
We are still looking at some possible hybrids that, if we need an external only kind of event, we might use the Kumu Cloud for that,
right.
or some other vendor.
Okay.
But we haven't gotten to that point yet. We're just probably looking at rolling out the Kumu product next quarter.
And do I remember you were also looking for some way to address a mobile solution as well? Is what you're doing primarily desktop, set-top boxes, mobile, or a combination of all of those?
Yeah, that was a big part of the RFP process.
Okay.
Was it had to absolutely support mobile devices, particularly iOS, because we're not an Android house at all, or Windows devices.
Okay.
So that was a big portion. Kumu has come in and said that we'll support that for you. So we're moving in that direction.
Okay, good. And what are kind of the learnings through the RFP process? Not necessarily Kumu's better than MediaSite, because I know you all don't do endorsements, but what did you learn as part of the process that would be helpful for our viewers and listeners to understand as you went through the RFP?
One thing we did that I was very pleased with, actually at the show, I met a gentleman who's a consultant that we brought in to help us through that RFP process, ask the right questions, put together the right scenarios. That was very helpful. The other thing that I wish we had done kind of as a lessons learned was an on-premise test. Actually bringing in the vendor's equipment and software, setting it up and seeing what it was capable of doing.
So instead of just relying on the paper RFP, actually doing an on-site.
And we actually planned on doing that, as a lot of things, it's a budgetary issue.
Sure.
And so we worked towards that model, didn't work out well, and I think we would have learned more about the products and the services that our vendors offered if we had done that.
Okay, good. What have you seen at the show this year, or what are you here looking for?
Haven't had a chance to see the floor yet, but one of the things I continually look for is better ways. I'm more on the production side than I am on the IT side.
Right.
So I'm always looking for better ways to reduce the number of people, to reduce the number of product, to reduce the number of steps I have to go through. So I'm always looking on the production side to help me support that.
Good. Well, we actually had an interesting interview yesterday with a company. I'll tell you about it off camera, but there are some production tools on the show floor I think that you'll find quite interesting to be able
Good to
take
hear.
a look at.
Great.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
And again, this has been Eric Hards with Lockheed Martin, and this is Almost Live at Streaming Media West 2015.